The United Nations has called for urgent international action on Syria after reports of a massacre by President Bashar al-Assad's forces in the central town of Hawla that left 92 people dead, including 32 children aged less than 10 years. UN Secretary-General Ban Ki-moon and UN Arab League envoy Kofi Annan jointly condemned the appalling and brutal crime. Kofi Annan yesterday said those responsible for perpetrating this crime must be held to account. US Secretary of State Hillary Clinton has called the deaths an atrocity and said Washington would work with the international community to heap pressure on Assad, whose rule by murder and fear must come to an end.
There is now a dispute over who was responsible for this. There are different versions. The UN obviously is holding the regime responsible. They're using words like disproportionate and so on, and clearly laying the blame on the government. However, Syrian state TV is leading with the Hula massacre. It is saying it was the work of Al-Qaeda infiltrators and Arab nationals who came into the area, carried out these gratuitous killings in order to stir up trouble and perhaps try and provoke outside intervention. So a completely different and very discordant version from the regime, but it clearly feels the need to come up with some kind of explanation for what happened.
Opposition activists in Syria begged the international community for help and intervention just a day after what they're calling a barbaric massacre in the town of Hula, which is in Homs province. Activists say that on Friday, the town was first shelled by Syrian forces, and then after that, the pro-regime militias entered the town and indiscriminately slaughtered families, men, women, and children. We've seen extremely gruesome and disturbing video being posted online throughout the day. We cannot verify the authenticity of this video, but most of what we've seen is corroborated by witnesses we're speaking to in Homs. One video in particular purports to show the bodies of up to 30 children and women wrapped in blankets, caked in blood, as a man walks around the room and blames this atrocity on the Syrian regime of President Bashar al-Assad. We've seen other very horrific videos as well that show children. It appears that their heads have been bashed in, their lifeless bodies strewn across the floors of rooms there, and with the people in those videos blaming once again the Syrian government for these atrocities. Now, earlier in the day, UN monitors on the ground in Syria arrived in the town of Hula. They were there looking at what happened, trying to assess the situation. And General Robert Mood, the head of the Syrian observation mission in Syria, spoke to reporters and had this to say about what transpired in Hula.
The death of 32 innocent children, lots of women and men, but in particular the children, that is an unacceptable attack on the future and on the aspirations of the Syrian people.